Of you are former teachers and have had a lot of experience in a classroom, and some of you haven't been in an elementary school classroom since you were in elementary school. And you have to see how comfortable you are with the group on how loose or tight you want to be with what you want the kids to do. The idea of marching around the room is fabulous because the kids need to move. But if you're not comfortable getting them back into order so that you can talk to them, then marching around the room isn't the thing to do. Find something, though, to get movement into what you're doing. If you're talking to the 4th and 5th graders, it's very likely that they will still be at their desks. Every teacher is different with what they do, but it's likely that they're at their desks. So at some point you might want them to at least stand and do something with their arms, or stamp their feet to the rhythm, or something where there's some movement, and then sit down again. If you have the little ones, it's very likely that they will be sitting on the floor at the front of the room. In that case, I'd grab a chair and sit down so you're not up here and they're on the floor, so you're down where they're closer to looking at you. But you don't want them to sit either, so at some point they need to stand up, and you can have them stand up and conduct. You can have them stand up and be the bird or whatever, the fish, but then sit down again. So whatever you're comfortable with, you do have to get the movement in, but be sure you can get them back into order. Let me back up a little bit. I started in the middle. In the Docent folder that you got today, on the left-hand side was what the teachers got. All 154 teachers got that packet that says Once Upon a Time. They got the CD that says Once Upon a Time, and they got the little note that said, please play this multiple times for your classroom. They got those last week, so they have quite a long time to be able to play the music, to participate in the art project if they are participating in the art project, to prepare their class with the music that they're going to hear. When you get to your assigned class, you will find that some of the teachers have done all of that. They have played the whole CD 20 times, and the children are extremely familiar with the music. And you'll go to another class, and the teacher will go, did I sign up to have you come? We know and then everything in between. So you cannot count on the fact that the teachers got the CDs last week that they will have played any of it before you arrive. And you cannot play the CD for the class. It is a 48-minute CD, and we recommend that your visits be about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes in the 4th and 5th grades. But in 30 minutes, you do not have time to play the CD for the class. That has to be the teacher's responsibility. You can play little short excerpts that illustrate an animal, that illustrate an instrument, something that you want to make part of what you're telling the kids, but you don't have time to play the CD. So listen to it yourself in the car when you're driving someplace, and pick out the parts that, as Michael said, speak to you, that you want to share with a class. So on that side was the teacher material side. On the other side of your folder was information for docents, a lot of which I lifted from San Francisco Symphony with their blessing. I did ask. The pictures of the instruments that are on your side, I think those are actually better examples because all the instruments are on one page instead of the strings on 2 pages. And also the symphony packet of brass instruments got left out. So you should know that the brass instrument pictures never got into the teacher packet.
Right, and I'd like to interject, there is no brass on this program. So we included the text about the brass, but there's no picture in the teacher packet because we don't want kids looking for trumpets on the stage. Although it's good to bring it up that that's part of the orchestra, but this is a small orchestra.
And they're not
Yeah, they won't see or hear a brass live.
But I did put those pictures in for you if you want to be able to hold up
Yes,
something and
these are
say, these instruments aren't going to be in this orchestra, these instruments are going to be in this orchestra. You have something that you can hold up. I did put in a page that I think is absolutely wonderful called Tips for Docents, and on the back side, More Tips for Docents. And that is probably the best sheet that I've seen anywhere for helping people that are not regular teachers or even regular teachers going into a classroom. That sheet is just wonderful. Then there's another sheet by Arnold Duncan, who's the head of the docent program for San Francisco Symphony, with some extra docent ideas. And on the back of that, some things that Tom Hornig, the former education director for Oakland, put together of things you might do in the classroom. So those were just some ideas of possibilities. I also put in for you a season brochure for the Oakland East Bay Symphony, because you will be entitled to 2 tickets to any regular season concert, not the Break Bread concert in December, but any of the regular season concerts you get 2 tickets to for doing this. So here's the brochure, pick out your concert, and I will email you instructions on how you ask for the tickets you want. And when you ask for your tickets, it'll be by email, and you'll pick up the tickets the night of the concert at the VIP table on the 21st Street door of the Paramount Theater. So if you've done this before, you know the drill, but if you're new, it's a very nice perk that you get for doing this, and thank you for doing it. I also put into the docent side of your folder a contact sheet for everyone who has agreed to be a docent this year. There are some names on that list who didn't come today, who said they were coming. I hope that still means they're going to be a docent, because we need you all. If you have friends who you think would like to do this, even though they weren't here today, we can take more docents and you can share with them the information that you got today. And Beth is videotaping, so we hope it's working beautifully and people can watch a video if they weren't here today. So if you know of anyone else who might like to do this, we're happy to still take a few more people. I will email assignments to you. I will email the schools, teachers emails, and then the way that you make contact, you can contact individual teachers with a time and day that you are coming, or you can contact all the teachers at your school if there's more than one, and ask one of the teachers to set you up a schedule within, and you specify the hours and the days that you're available. So that has worked well for many people in the past. I'll back up again a little. This year, almost all the schools that are coming, there are 6 or 8 classes at the school that are coming to the concert that want a docent. That means more than one day's visit for most of the people. So that's where on your education volunteer sheet, I asked if you were available for more than one day. When you signed up for this, we pleaded for, can you give us at least one day? And we're hoping everyone has at least 2 days and maybe more. Because this year, most of the schools have multiple classes. So we found that 4 is probably the most you can do in a morning. 3 might even be better. But Barbara, you want to share what you said about all day?
Well, last year I did Montclair Elementary, and we had Robert and I all day, and it worked well. There was a place we could go grab some lunch right next to the school, and was kind of nice to get it all over with, and it was pretty exciting because it was boom, 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 boom.
So you need at least 10 minutes between classes, so you don't do your classes back to back, and it depends on the school, you might want more than 10 minutes between classes. So don't back yourself into a corner where you don't have enough time. But the opposite side of that, I forgot who I was talking to this morning, Judith, were you the one who said you did a long day? Who told me they did a long day and it was too long? Virginia.
Yeah, I did a long day and it was too much because for me, the afternoon, they had a particular activity at lunch, and when the kids came in, they were all revved up and they're fresh and more calm in the morning for me. Maybe that's because I am too. So that helped. But and then I found too that when I'm making a presentation, my things kind of get out of order. So I got them a little too close one year. So it's better that for me to have 15 minutes between so I can get my material all organized again, get right to the room, and I don't always get a room right next door. It may be in the next building. You got to get all of your things over, and so just to make time.
So for you, it was better to, it would be better to do 6 classes, 3 on one day, 3 on
Definitely.
another day.
Definitely.
Paul?
Yeah.
When you have multiple classes at one school, maybe only the older kids are combine a couple of classes.
We recommend you don't do that. It did happen in a few cases, and it probably happened.
What was that?
The question, Barbara, was what if you, especially with older classes, could you combine 2 or 3 classes together? We recommend not, for multiple reasons. If you're a classroom teacher and feel comfortable controlling 60 to 90 kids, great, do it. But on the other hand, it's a much more personal experience for the kids if it's 20 to 30 and you, the docent, rather than in an auditorium.
It
Judith?
still can happen, though, even though it's not our policy. And sometimes they just bring everyone into a huge gymnasium, and you just have to deal with several. I had to do that.
It happened, okay.
Be ready,
It's not
Paul. Be ready
supposed
for
to
anything.
happen. Yeah, well,
Well, I knew
it's
about
not
it.
supposed to happen. And you as the docent always have the right to say, no, I'm not going to do this. My appointment was with Mrs. Stone for 10:30, not with 3 classes, you know. So please assert yourself if that happens. Chan?
That did happen to me, and I did say no, and they accommodated by
Yeah.
shifting their
You
schedule.
should have that all worked out ahead, but again, should is, yeah, you should have it worked out. If you've had your email communication with the teachers and said, I have this time, I want you to set up this schedule, send me the schedule, don't wait till you get to the school to get the schedule. Make sure you know in advance that you're going to be going to this class at 9 and this class at 9:45 and whatever. Every school has a different recess and lunch schedule and a different start time. So there's no way you can figure out in advance, okay, I'm going to go from 8:45 to 9:15 and 9:30 to 10. And because, for example, this school, kindergarten and first go from 8:40 to 9:50, then they have a 20-minute recess, then from 10:10 to 11:25, and they have lunch. But the second and third grades go from 8:40 to 10:15, have a 10-minute recess, and go from 10:30 to noon before they have lunch. And the 4th and 5th grades are a different schedule, and I don't know what that is. So you would have no way to figure out who's where. But in that scenario here, you could do 2 classes first thing in the morning, and one of them could be first grade and one could be second grade while the first graders are at recess. And then you could do either a second or a first when they come back from recess, and then you could do a second or a third before they go to lunch, even though the little kids went to lunch. So you easily could do 4 classes in the morning with 15 minutes between. But that's at this school, so every school's different. So you get to pick the day you are going to docent, you get to pick the time, whether it's morning or afternoon. You give the teacher the choice of that time or no time. If they really can't do it, let me know. We can try to trade for a different docent. Along that line also, last year several teachers never responded to the docent. If that happens, if you can't get a response, let me know. I'll give you a different assignment. So that we didn't make it to all the classes last year. We hope to make it to all the classes this year. So if you have an unresponsive teacher, let me know and I'll trade you for someone who's probably clamoring for, oh, please send me a docent. We try to cover the Oakland schools first and then the schools out of Oakland. But if you have a particular preference for something that's not in Oakland, I can show you the list of what we have. We have one school in Castro Valley. We have one school in Hayward. Each of those with one classroom. If someone would like to cover that. We have a docent from El Cerrito who's not here today, who definitely asked for the El Cerrito classes. We have 3 classrooms in Emeryville, but we do try to cover the Oakland classes first. Let me know. There's a place on your docent form, I'll skip to that now, to put a partner. If you've met someone you feel comfortable with, would like to be a docent with, please put that person's name down as someone you'd like to have for a partner. If you don't put anything, I might be calling you and asking, could I give you, there are 6 people who are not here at the training today that are going to be docents. 2 of them are new docents, so I would love to get them partnered up with somebody who was here, whether they're a new docent or not, just somebody who was here. And then 4 of them are people who've been docents before and sort of know what they're doing, but they'd like to hear what happened today. So that's one place. Be sure you fill in something on the partner form. If you'd rather just go by yourself, there's a place to circle, I'd rather go alone. And then there's a comment section that I added this year. If you have a school you're just desperately dying to go to, please put it down, whether it's one you went to before or not, or a school you went to that you don't want to go back to. They might not be the same teachers, so you could have a totally different experience. Materials we have available for you to take with you. A poster showing the seating chart of the orchestra. You have a little one in your folder. We have a poster with the instruments of the orchestra in color. These are mounted on foam core, and they're lightweight. You can take with you. We also have sets of colored pictures of the instruments, and they're over here for you to look at. They have wonderful things on the back, so as you hold them up, you can talk about the instruments without ever having to know anything about them. So you're welcome to take the whole packet with you, although it's heavy, or pull out the instruments you want because there are no brass instruments in the concert. Some of the posters show the whole family, and then sometimes the poster is just an individual instrument. So you can go through, there's a whole packet. John, where's the rest? Oh, it's up there. There's a whole packet here for you to look at.
Michelle, can I ask, so what instruments are playing? It's no brass. How big is the symphony?
Okay,
for that?
so I can comment on that. So this will be a chamber orchestra, chamber-size orchestra, and I can tell you the instruments will be a small string section, so you'll have your first violins, second violins, violas, cellos. I think there'll be 2 violas, 2 cellos, and 1 double bass. And then we will have a flute player, a clarinet player, 2 pianos, and percussion. And then the flute player will play a piccolo for the piccolo concerto. And as far as the percussion, we're not sure what Ward will bring for his special instrument presentation or a special piece. But that's basically it. So we don't have brass on this concert, as mentioned earlier. So just make sure that the kids aren't looking for a trumpet, because they like trumpets. Does that answer your question,
Yes.
Barbara? Okay, sure.
We also have small CD players for you to take with you. There are 2 kinds. There's a Sony and there's one a little smaller than this called a Colby. And all of the posters and the CD players will be at my house and will be available to be checked out. And the reason we didn't bring them today is we want you to have time to choose a partner if you're going to be with a partner or be by yourself, because there are 30 people on our docent list and we don't have 30 of everything. We probably have 20 of everything. So that if you know, for instance, John Stevenson, you know you're going to be Russ Irwin's partner, you and Russ only need one of everything rather than have Russ and John carry home all the equipment. So they can decide which one's going to come pick up whatever they want. So the pickup will be at my house, and I will email you a map and directions for those of you who haven't been there. And I will also email you the dates and times, but for your information, it will be the week starting October 18th to Sunday, that's a Thursday, to Sunday the 21st, because your first visit can be on the 22nd. So Thursday it would be afternoon only, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday anytime, but you'll have to call to make sure that I'm going to be there. So that my number is on your list highlighted. So Thursday the 18th to Sunday the 21st would be the time to come pick up any of this that you want, the CD player, the posters, the set of colored posters. And then we will have a wrap-up meeting for those who are able to make it on Saturday the 17th of November from 10:30 to 11:30, also at my house. So just 1 hour, a chance for you to say what worked, what didn't work. Cynthia?
What day is the actual concert?
The concerts are the 13th, 14th, 15th of November. I believe that's on the teacher packet that you have, the Once Upon a Time teacher packet.
It might, we gave the blue sheet for
Oh,
each
the blue
teacher,
sheet,
but
you
you know,
have
it might
that.
not say in
Okay.
here.
Well, let me go over
Yeah.
that. The concerts will be the 13th, 14th, 15th of November, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Tuesday, Wednesday concerts are at Oakland Tech at 9:30 and 10:45. And the Thursday concert will be at Allen Temple Baptist Church at 9:30 and 10:45. And all six concerts are full. They filled up in 1 week of teachers being able to RSVP. So in 1 week, boom, all the slots were gone. You do not have to go to one of the kid concerts, but if you want to, you're welcome to go to one or all of them. The kids love seeing their docent at the concert, so if you want to know which concert your classes are signed up for, I have that information too. Cynthia?
I just wanted to add that last year I did pick up a CD for me, but I found I didn't need it. The CD player, I'm sorry, not the CD player. Once I got to the classrooms, all the teachers had CD capability, player capability.
And that varies from school to school
Yeah, so
and
it would be,
classroom to
it would
classroom.
be to ask. the
Yeah, so
teachers.
it might be something you want to ask ahead of time, they don't have to carry it.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing about having your own is you can practice. And all CD players don't function the same way. And if you want to stop and start, you might want to practice
On the one you're going to use, yeah.
And the second thing I want to say is I transferred all my music to the computer, to my laptop, and actually did very well with stopping and starting and jumping ahead using the real player on my laptop. And I like that a lot better than the CD player.
So those of you who are more technologically inclined, I think that's a wonderful idea. So thanks, Jan, for that. Paul?
Do the teachers have to ever use the, they have projection or re-equipment of those?
It's different from room to room and school to school.
Right.
So you can't count on having,
Phone or email.
yeah, you can't count on what's going to be there. It's actually quite different from room to room. I would recommend that you write out a lesson plan. Your visit is only half an hour. Maybe with the 4th and 5th graders, 40 minutes. That goes really, really quickly. faster than you can imagine. So you really don't have time to deal with all of Carnival of the Animals and what the conductor does and behavior at the concert. You need to pick and choose what appeals to you, but please do go over concert behavior. That is something you can't count that the teacher has talked about. Going with what Beth said, you don't want the kids sitting perfectly still. I remember taking my class to the concert once and the next teacher over slapping a child's hands because they were clapping like this on their lap. It just killed me. So what you want to do is make sure that the kids know that quiet kinds of moving around is appropriate. As Beth said, the rock concert, you jump up and you yell and clap. But at a symphony concert, you might do something like this, or tap on your legs as long as it's not making noises. The other thing for young kids to talk about the difference between listening to music on the radio or on a computer versus being in a live concert. The musicians cannot hear you when you're listening to the radio or the computer. The musicians can hear you when you're in the live concert, and how that changes how loud or quiet you respond to the music. But you want them to respond to the music. You want them to wiggle their head or their arms or something. But try to show some appropriate ways. And that's also so that the teachers learn what's appropriate too, because not all the teachers know that it's appropriate that the kids move. You don't want them to hit the hand because they were conducting. Don't want that. So write out your lesson plan. You don't have to write it out word for word. You can do an outline, but put some times next to the little sections of what you plan to do. How long you